Hi everybody. Welcome to Universe View Odyssey channel. Dialogue concerning cosmology of quantum theory, relational cosmology. Q1. You have been continuing your quantum odyssey through the last 19 videos, and this 20th video is the end of the quantum odyssey. That's too bad. It has been 5 months since I embarked on a quantum theory odyssey with themes such as Schrödinger's cat, the Copenhagen interpretation, and the Bohr-Einstein debates, starting with, what is quantum? It's safe to say that Aspect's entangled photon experiment following the EPR debate saw the highlights of quantum odyssey. Q2. Then, what theme will you tell us at the end of today's quantum odyssey? I would like to introduce the cosmology contained in quantum theory. Q3. What is cosmology? Cosmology refers to a systematic view of the universe from a scientific point of view. If people had a logical basis and thought, what is the universe, for a long time, it could be called the cosmology of that era. For example, Ptolemy's geocentric theory or Copernicus's heliocentric theory are representative cosmology from ancient times and the Middle Ages. Today's cosmology is a field of study that brings together the natural sciences, particularly astronomy and physics, in a joint effort to understand the physical universe as a unified whole. This view of the universe, cosmology, is compared to the word worldview we commonly use. If a worldview refers to a unified and systematic view of human problems or human existence, a cosmology is a scientific view of the universe. A worldview can be described as a philosophical view of man in the universe. The important thing is that as the cosmology changes, the worldview also changes. Q4. It seems that you would like to introduce the quantum theory's cosmology is because it is very different from the previous cosmology. If so, I think it would be a good idea to take a quick look at the previous cosmology first. Yes, that would be the order. Cosmology has been everywhere in the world, but here I will limit it to the European cosmology, which is the root of modern science. Among the ancient cosmology, the mathematical cosmology of Pythagoras is still influential to this day. This cosmology says that the universe operates according to mathematical principles. Galileo said, "The universe is written in the language of mathematics, and its letters are triangles, circles, and other geometric shapes. Without it, there is no way for humans to understand a single word." Galileo also believed in the mathematical cosmology. Today, the laws of the universe, that is, the laws of physics, are described in terms of formulas without exception. Pythagoras' amazing cosmology. Q5. The relationship between universe and mathematics is mysterious. It is not unusual that he prophesied this 2,500 years ago. Please also introduce the cosmology after Pythagoras. Pythagoras' mathematical cosmology directly influenced Plato, who is called the founder of Western philosophy. The dialogue containing Plato's cosmology is Timaeus, and Timaeus is the name of a disciple of Pythagoras. Q6. I knew him as a philosopher, but it's interesting that Plato was well versed in mathematics. Plato considered mathematics as a tool for thinking or a model for thinking to understand the world of ideas. In other words, to understand the world behind phenomena, the invisible but essential world, one need to know mathematics. The world of mathematics is an ideal world. Plato's cosmology is called the geometric cosmology. This also had a profound effect on Kepler, the astronomer of the scientific revolution. Q7. After Plato, Aristotle. I heard that he denied ideas. What about his cosmology? Aristotle denied Plato's idea, that is, the ideal world beyond this world, and thought that this world was the real and the essence. But in many other respects he succeeded Plato. His cosmology is simply summarized as the earthly world of creation and extinction, the heavenly world of eternity and perfection. This dominated the consciousness of European society for almost 2,000 years, until Galileo in the 17th century. Q8. It seems that Copernicus and Galileo did not completely break away from Aristotle's view of the universe. So, when did you completely deviate from the ancient cosmology? Newton? That's right. Newton expressed the movement of the universe as a formula in Mathematical Principles of Natural Philosophy, Principia, published in 1687. This is a declaration that humans can comprehend the entire universe, and it's huge. From this, the era of true reason, the era of human beings, began. In particular, Newton's formula declares that, if you know the present state, you can know the future. British historian Herbert Butterfield, in The Origin of Modern Science, evaluated it as an event that overshadowed everything after the emergence of Christianity, and brought down the Renaissance and the Reformation to the position of mere episodic events. From Newton's equations of motion and the law of universal gravitation, a mechanistic and deterministic cosmology was born. It dominates the consciousness of mankind, which affects it to this day. Q9. Finally, it is time for the cosmology of quantum theory to emerge. Quantum theory appeared in the early 20th century and already blossomed in the middle of the 20th century, but Newton's mechanistic cosmology still dominates. That's it. There is a saying by Jacob Bronowski, a mathematician, historian, and author of The Ascent of Man. Even though humanity is writing groundbreaking history with the second scientific revolution that took place in the early 20th century, historians are still leisurely explaining the first scientific revolution. This is an article from A Sense of the Future, Essays in Natural Philosophy. Q10. Okay. Maybe it's because quantum theory, as we've been Odyssey, against common sense and intuition. Come to think of it, today we did Cosmology Odyssey. The final destination is the cosmology of quantum theory. Let me briefly introduce its contents. Choi Jong-duk, a philosopher of science, said, the quantum theory's cosmology is in line with Whitehead's organism philosophy. Whitehead, a master of modern Western philosophy, defined nature as the totality of a vast organic relational network. Israeli philosopher of science Max Yammer summarized, the core of quantum theory is relationality and wholeness. Also, David Bohm, who made an adaptation of the EPR argument, claimed that the universe must be understood in a relational network in which the parts cannot be separated from the whole. These remarks can be fully understood if we recall quantum entanglement and superposition, which are the essential characteristics of the quantum theory we have traveled through. To summarize what they said, the universe is not a machine that can be disassembled and assembled, but a wholeness of organic relational network in which parts and whole cannot be separated. I would like to call this view of the universe the relational cosmology, or the cosmology of relational network. Thanks for watching. You can read this story in Injury Time, injurytime.kr.